So can everybody hear me from where you're sitting? We're good? So I don't have to get up? Awesome. So you also should have your guided notes in front of you. So this is just to help you because I know a lot of you don't necessarily take notes as I'm lecturing. It can also be kind of a pain, right, to try to pay attention to what I'm saying and then go back and take notes. So that's why I did these guided notes. Obviously, the first one is kind of easy just because Module 1 doesn't have a ton of content in them. But these should be easy points for you, right? If you pay attention during the lecture, as we're going through, you should be able to fill in all of these blanks, from the slides. These are all based off of the slides. It's not necessarily like the rabbit holes that we go down. There's none of that. Like you should be able to pull all this stuff from the slides, okay? And I do have a copy of them in Google Classroom, so if you just want to type them in as you go, you can do that as well. So you guys have your Chromebooks or other devices, so if you want to put those in, or if we didn't get enough, then you can just print them and grab those as we go through, okay? So, yeah, you'll have to reprint it if there's not another one, because we made enough copies for everyone, so it should be here somewhere. If not, just fill it in on your Chromebook as you go. So, yes, question? Okay, I'll talk fast-ish. Yep. Yep. That was more of a statement than a question. Okay, so like I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we've seen in the industry where everything was being pushed to the cloud. Why do you think that things were being pushed to the cloud? What you know about, the cloud, what makes you think that they were? Go ahead. They don't have to have physical space, right? What else?
Lower hardware costs.
Say again?
Lower hardware costs.
Lower hardware costs? Sure. Yep.
It creates a very safe and easy backup for any information that you need backup off-site.
Yeah, safe and easy, especially if you look at kind of, your big players, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. A lot of this is point and click, and you can do it all from a web browser, right? You could set up machines, tear machines down, all from a web browser. You no longer have to sit in front of a computer, install an operating system, get an ISO. All that stuff's virtualized now. So you could literally, in your web browser, just mount that ISO, do the install, and it's there. Also, scalability, right? So the term scalability means that you can spin up things very fast, very easily, very as needed. And then you could tear those things down. So, hey, I don't want to go like back in my day, but back in my day, we actually used to have websites that would go down because there was too much traffic going to it. And that wasn't just an attack, right? We see that sometimes now with, denial of service attacks, but that was just like a normal thing. Like if more than, 100 people went to a website at a time, then it would take it down. There used to be a thing called the Slashdot effect. And that was whenever like a blog post or an article or a website went on the Slashdot, it got all this attention and all these people went to it, okay? And because the server could only handle so many connections, it would then shut down, okay? Now with cloud, it starts to see that stuff coming in and it's like, hey, we need to spin up another machine automatically, or we might need to set up 5,000 machines automatically. And then when we're done with this little blip, we just shut them all down. And that's all done autonomously, okay? So this push towards the cloud has created a lot of jobs for people because, again, the industry has pushed to the cloud for those reasons, okay? Also in the industry, there was some software that was called VMware, okay? VMware was the standard when it came to virtualization, and a lot of places were using, VMware in their local environments, and it kind of created their own cloud, and they could do a lot of things. They could, if something happened, they could, spin it up or, migrate things over to another data center. It did that. But last year, those prices went up when they were bought out. So now there's a lot of people that are really looking at, okay, should I just move this stuff to the cloud? Before it was cheaper to keep things here. We had more control of it, but now that price went up. So maybe now we do move it to the cloud, okay? So that's why we're seeing this kind of ebb and flow when it comes to utilization of the cloud, okay? So what do you need for this course? Obviously, you guys went through some networking stuff last year, but we're going to review a lot of that as part of the course. This is a Microsoft-esque kind kind of focused course. So when we're, looking at the cloud, we're mostly going to be talking about Azure, which is really awesome because you guys can get free Azure credits in order to do this stuff in real life. Okay, we're going to do most of this in the simulated environment, but with the simulated environment, it's almost exactly what you're going to see is if you went to Azure itself, okay? So server admin experience, you guys have all done a little bit with VirtualBox and set up virtual machines, did stuff like that. So you have a little bit of that experience and some cloud experience. You guys have a basic understanding of the cloud because you've used Gmail and you've used, certain tools like that. Or you might have played with Azure, AWS, AWS being Amazon Web Services, so Amazon's kind of cloud offering, or Azure, which is Microsoft's cloud. I would say those two are probably the two biggest ones, shortly behind Google. Google has their cloud as well, but the ones that you usually hear about are AWS and Azure. Okay. Earlier, somebody was asking, what certifications will this lead to by the end? So I'm covering this from the perspective of giving you guys, access and experience with some of the cloud tools. But this is also, there's a lot of server admin stuff, which picks up kind of where we left off. Because when you go to a job locally, there's a good chance that they're probably still using like Microsoft Active Directory in order to log in. So it's great that you have these cloud skills, but an entry-level job, you still kind of need to know your way around Active Directory. So we needed a way to kind of cover those standards as well in order to prepare you to get a job locally as well as, on the more, national stage. So, yep, question?
I do not miss Active Directory.
So we're going to see a little bit of it now. There is, Azure Active Directory too. So before you would have to, figure out ways to, like at my mom's company, for example, it's a worldwide company. So she would have to, she'd have a VPN client that would, allow her to make that connection with Active Directory and get some, pull down some of those settings and stuff. Now, instead of taking that or having that in a data center, we're now moving that up to the cloud. So we don't have to go through the cloud to get to the local, data center. Now we're just going to the cloud. So we have kind of less overhead as well. And where the hybrid comes in, we still have our local Active Directory, but we're syncing with the cloud, and the cloud is syncing back with us for changes and stuff. So that's that kind of hybrid approach that we're looking at with the with this certification. Also things like imaging. So how do we install, whether that's Windows, whether that's Linux, whatever that might be, how do we image all these computers at mass, right? Like we have 21 computers in this lab. So if we wanted them all to be on Ubuntu tomorrow, that would take a little while, right? If for us to make all the installation media, do go through that install. Imaging allows us to push that out through the network. So that's another thing that we're going to cover. Application deployment. How do we deploy applications to all of the users so that way they have the tools that we need? Those are the kind of server things that we're going to cover. So there's two certifications that you can get, the TestOut Hybrid Server Core. There is an advanced version of this that comes right after it. So if you do go to NC State, that is offered. I taught that class last year. It is very intense. I mean, there's some high-level stuff in there, which is pretty awesome. And then you have your Microsoft Certified Associate. So that's something that you guys can sit for, and that's an industry-recognized credential in order to add to your resume and hopefully bump up these things. So just having that experience, we talked a little bit about that simulated work environment that we're going to be going towards. You guys are going to have plenty of opportunity to use Azure to build things, especially once we get set up to get your kind of free credits through being an educational institution. So you'll have plenty of experience that you can put on your resume. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about, obviously just basic cloud concepts of how the cloud works and how Azure works. We're going to revisit some of those IP address, DHCP, DNS, all those kind of network plus things that we talked about last year. Active Directory, there's a whole module on that bad boy. Group policy, so really looking at how the machine shows up for the user and what things they have access to and don't have access to. We're going to talk about storage, file services, how we share information out. And as we're going through all of these things, we're starting fresh with our server infrastructure. And we're going to build these things in our own bare metal stuff over there, again, to get those hours that you guys need to get. We're going to build that out so that way we can start managing our laptops here and it won't be as Wild Westy, okay? Or it will be, right? Like if we want to put out a funny background one day and change it the next day, just to see how it works, we'll be able to do that. We're also going to be talking about, like I said, file services and shares, all of those ISOs. I think who you were mentioning earlier that you have a bunch of ISOs on a hard drive. So being able to share those out to our machines so that way they can pull those things down. And then we're going to be talking about VMs and containers, whether that is Hyper-V on the Microsoft side, Proxmox. We're going to kind of cover all of those things. We had a question in the back. Oh, yeah.
So for course topics, the third link that you can fill in isn't up on the board. I assume it's virtual environment.
Virtual, yep.
Okay.
And then integration on premises and cloud. So, and that's shortened usually to on-prem. So if you hear the term on-prem in the industry, that means on premises. So we have an on-prem server that has Active Directory on it. That means that we have a server that's handling all of our logins and security and all that fun stuff. Integration is on-prem and cloud. Okay. All right. So, kind of what we're going to be talking about in this section. This is like the actual kickoff, right? So you'll have to get, kind of the exposure to the Azure interface as it is done through TestOut, but it's pretty much the same thing if you went to a web browser anyway. So this isn't like when we were doing all the A+ stuff where you had to like put the RAM in and stuff like that. That was grueling just because it'd be easier just to like pull the RAM out in physical and touching your hands. This is literally the identical thing. Like you're going to see the web browser, and this is how you're going to interact with this stuff. So yes.
Would you like actually getting your own? I wasn't sure if you were going to do it like virtually, like how we did the test out stuff.
Yeah. So you're going to go through the content in TestOut because for us to try to set up these like in real life, it would be super expensive because we would have to set up like 30 servers for each of you in Azure, and it just wouldn't be, it would be cost prohibitive. So that part is going to be through TestOut. But you guys are going to have access to a certain amount of credits on Azure in order to build some of these things if you want to, or to create, like once we get into the HTML, CSS, web app type of stuff, Python, and you want to start putting that stuff out there, you're going to have access to Azure to do that. Yes?
Okay, so credits that you use on Azure in order to make the cloud.
Yes.
Do those credits slowly decline over time?
They do. They do. So what you'll find with the cloud is you pay for time and processing. So you pay for time and you pay for storage, and you pay for what you get. Okay, whereas a server, like you buy the server and you're done, and you have as much as you want to upload or download. It's not like a metered connection. Okay, so yes, when I keep referencing those credits, what happens is step one is us teaching the content. Step two is us having an active Microsoft license as a district for like Office and Windows and stuff like that, or Windows servers. So once we have those kind of two things combined, we can apply to be a Microsoft, used to be called DreamSpark back in the day, but now I think it's called Azure Students. So now that we're doing these things, we can go and apply and say, here's our class, and then we can give you guys access to that. And part of that, like through the college, at least NC State, is access to Windows 10, Windows 11, Server OS, Hyper-V. I don't know that Office is technically included in that, but Office might be included in our license that we actually purchase for student use. So it gives you access to more than just like Azure services. It gives you access to like the software too. So if you need to download, a Windows 11, machine in order to, test stuff on, you'll be able to download that and you'll get your license key and everything like that. So that's that's where these two things are kind of combining. Now we can apply for that and get access to that stuff for you guys. Yes, but those credits will go down over time. Yep. So some of the key terms for that we're going to be seeing when we're working not only in the cloud but on our local machines are things like our server manager. So this is going to be on, on Windows Server itself. The server manager is going to have access to all the different roles that you can install on that machine. It'll have access to if there's errors, stuff like that. That is how we are. That's kind of our heads up display, if you will, for that server that we're working with. Start menu, we should all know what that is, right? We went through our A+ stuff. One thing you might not be familiar with is the Microsoft Authenticator app. So I'm sure many of, for your Steam key, when you try to log in, you get either a text message or Steam has the app that has, the code that you have to put in. Anything that you get sent a text message for a code, that dual factor or multi-factor authentication. Through Microsoft, they have the Microsoft Authenticator app. So with Azure, when you're making changes and stuff like that, they want this to be a very secure environment, right? So the Microsoft Authenticator app is what you utilize in order to get that code or that push notification, whatever it might be. So in TestOut, that's all going to be virtualized for you, right? It's going to have that application there, and it's going to be, it's going to be designed to work. But in the real world, you have to download the Microsoft Authenticator app on your device, so that way it is a second form of authentication. And then we have subscriptions. So with subscriptions, that is going to be kind of a bucket that holds all of your resources that are billed together. So what we mean by that is, let's say you're working with 4 different clients. They're each going to have separate things that they're billed for. Okay, they're going to have their own separate subscription for utilizing those resources. Okay, so again, with the cloud is, you pay for what you use, which is good and bad, right? So if all of a sudden you have 5,000 people start using your app, and now, we're starting to see, servers get spun up, you're probably going to have an expensive bill that month, right? It's no different than your electric bill in the summer if you decide to have 4 air conditioners to your house, right? It goes up. So it becomes more of a utility than, just something that you buy and you have, okay? Does that make sense, kind of the subscription? So for this module, again, this is our goal for today is to get through module 1. And I'm going to bring up the pacing guide so you can kind of see how we're going to try to get through this in 9 weeks, okay? Because I want to try to get you guys access to as much content and information your senior year as possible, okay? Especially because we do have those longer periods this year, okay? Any questions on kind of just those first couple things? Again, very baseline, module 1, easy peasy.